So in this video we will talk about vanishes. Now in a previous video titled my free lecture, which is a free lecture I've been giving out for a while, so that's why it's titled that, I talked about proper motivation and the use of tension and relaxation. And we're going to keep with that in keeping that stuff in mind as we go through these three vanishes. Now, the three vanishes are going to be three false take vanishes, okay? Meaning it's going to look as though we take a coin, but we don't, okay? It actually remains in the hand. But remember, we want to properly motivate this. Now, there could be ways of doing that. And I'm going to give you some examples. So for this first one, we're going to talk about the different sides of the coin. You know, silver dollar coins, they have two sides. You have the tail side, which has an eagle on it, and then you have the head side, which has Morgan on it. I don't know who Morgan is, but they call it a Morgan silver dollar, so I'm guessing Morgan was someone important, but she's gone to history now. No one knows what happened to her. Well, they probably know what happened to her. I just don't know what happened to her. Yeah. Anyways, so there's a silly example, right? We are turning over the coin. That's why we're talking about the different sides. So that motivates this next gesture, right? And we're flipping it over and we're looking, right? And then we had time misdirection in between. We didn't just show that it vanished immediately after the false take, because that would bring attention back to this hand, but we talked a little bit. We allowed some time between the move and the vanish, right? So some kind of script, as you can see here, some kind of presentation can give motivation for a move, but also can allow for that time misdirection, allow them to forget that a move occurred, that there was even a false transfer in the first place. And this way they can start to feel like that coin is really there before it vanishes. So how do we do this first one? Well, we're using the pinky ledge that we talked about before. And it's really simple. The hands relaxed, hands come together, and this, I'm going to flex these fingers straight. Gives this feeling like they're giving the coin away. And right as these coins come over, sorry, not these coins, these are fingers. Coins are extension of me, but these are fingers. So as this hand comes over, the thumb will contact this edge. These fingers will come over the coin like so, as if I was about to pick it up. And right as this hand starts to come away, this one relaxes down. And because of that pinky ledge, it won't fall off. And the hand starts to come away and curls in as it comes to rest. This hand can continue as if it's looking at that side of the coin. You can do some psychological subtleties here. You can be here and talk about Morgan. I think that's a woman. Is that a woman? Morgan could be a man's name. Doesn't matter, right? Like you're examining it for a moment, right? Because you'd be crazy to examine something that wasn't actually there. So that's kind of just a tiny little convincer. So you could do something like that, right? Once again, also allows for time misdirection. It's something interesting to talk about. So that's a little psychological subtlety you can add here. But one more time to go over the move over the shoulder. The coin is on the second and third finger. The fingers will extend as if they're giving that coin away. The thumb will just contact this edge. These fingers like so. And at this point, this hand will relax back a little bit. It's not going to go into finger palm. You don't want to clench here. And it'll start to turn away. Coin on pinky ledge as this hand turns up. Right as the fingertips meet the edge of the table, then the fingers can curl in and the hand can come to rest. So, why don't we want to go into finger palm? This is something you'll see a lot of people do at a false take. They'll do this. But see, that finger palm action immediately is a gripping action. And a gripping action communicates that you're gripping something, right? So it gives away the location. The pinky ledge gives this feel that there's nothing in the hand. So it's important that the fingers don't curl in until they're coming to rest, which wouldn't naturally happen really until the fingers make contact with the table. You want to make sure these fingers are pointed up so that they can't see in, and give that time misdirection. The other thing that our gestures are communicating here is with this extension, this opening of the fingers like this, really kind of exaggerating a little bit, gives a feeling like you're releasing something. This, cupped, holding it, release, like so. All right, so you put all these things together. It'll take some practice and time to really get all the little nuances in there, but it makes for a very deceptive vanish with a very, very simple move. Okay. And once again, we can motivate it by flipping it over. You can condition it the first time, so you actually do flip it over. And then the second time, you don't. Right? So that's one variation. Another variation is to have the coin on these tips of the second and third finger, and we could go and grab the coin, come over like this. It's all exactly the same, but we're going to turn away and come to rest. Now in this case, you're turning the hands in, curling the fingers in a little early and coming to rest, but you can see here, the fingers curled in, with the hand so close to the table. It's just a brief moment before the hand comes to rest. So it's a very kind of subtle thing, and you still get a good feeling of it being kind of transferred. This can feel a little more tense because the fingers are curling in a little bit early, but as long as that hand's coming and meeting the table immediately after the movement and almost sliding along into position, it'll still feel motivated and look natural. So that's another variation of this. Okay, let's go over the shoulder with that to show. Simply here, front, and then as this hand comes away is when we start to curl the fingers. You want those to happen at the same time. You don't want to curl and then come away. All right, that would be way too tense. You want it to be as it comes away. So you could be here, just as before. Really extend those fingers like you're giving the coin away. Pretend to grab, come away. Now, how else can we motivate something like this? You say, oh, I have a silver dollar, but this is nothing like the Chinese coin that I have. This thing is very different, right? This has a little hole in it, and that hole goes all the way to China, and you can actually drop things into the hole, they disappear, and they go all the way to China, right? So, same thing, but we're going to make eye contact with that Chinese coin first, move our body in that direction, which motivates why this hand is going for that Chinese coin. This is a Slidini technique. So it's eyes, body, and then the move occurs. And then we can pick up the coin with this coin even in fingertip rest. You can curl in so that it's pinched up against the palm, or you can just leave it there and kind of grip it subtly and just move the kind of Chinese coin over. Talk about how there's a hole. You can put the coin in the hole, it goes all the way to China or whatever. So it could be for grabbing something. Maybe you have like a magic wand. Do we have a magic wand? Aha, a magic marker. Sharpie. It's just as good, right? So you can have the coin, say, boom, disappears, right? So you're motivating this transfer by having something to grab. Now, the last variation we're going to talk about here is the same thing, but we're going to try to get a retention of vision so we can actually curl up with that third finger, with that ring finger, to get that coin a little bit more vertical and get a little bit of a flash between the fingers as we come away. Now you'll find that if you get this just the right angle where the light kind of glints off of it, let's see. It's not bright enough in here apparently. Oh, there you go. So just a little bit further up. There you go. You get a little bit of a retention of vision between the fingers. So you leave the fingers open, and it really get a flash between the fingers. And right as it flashes, fingers can close around it and the hands can come away, right? Now all we're doing here is placing the first finger on the slight edge so that we can lift up and get it a lot more vertical. Lift the ring finger and let it pivot its edge in the crack of these two fingers So you get a lot more vertical. Okay, the subtle thing, you get a little bit of a flash on the coin between the fingers as the hand comes away. Right. So those are 3 variations on the false take and things you can play around with. Remember to add the proper motivation, a reason for why the transfer is happening. We talked about flipping over coins, talked about grabbing an object, but you could come up with many ways of doing this. You can talk, maybe it's to produce a second coin. Maybe you produce a coin, you show it, you say, oh, there's a second one there. There we go, the second one. Ah! And it disappears, right? So with this, you're still doing the exact same thing we did with the Sharpie or the coin, where your eyes meet, your body goes forward, communicating that you're about to grab something and motivating this move. In this case, you're grabbing nothing or an imaginary thing. You can even just produce a coin by coming forward from fingertip rest. Boom, right? Maybe off the table even. What's that? Sorry, there's something on the table there. Oh crap. Right? Or whatever. So there's many ways that you can motivate. You can use your imagination, you can use your presentation, you can create false reference points, like, you know, something you're going to produce, or maybe it's something you vanish into. Maybe it's a little hole here that you can push this, well, it has to fit, but you can get this coin inside the hole in theory. It's like a wormhole, like a hole in space that goes to nowhere. Even solid object can just get sucked in there. Right? So there's lots of ways to kind of motivate the transfer from one hand to the other, but it's very helpful to do so. So that's 3 vanishes, and we talked a bit about proper motivation and a little bit of intentional relaxation as well.